And Soocy, you should be live now. And Soocy, you should be live now.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So, yes, this is TimeSpinner. If you're not familiar with it, it is a Metroidvania. It's somewhat more linear than some that you might be familiar with, like Super Metroid, but it is still fairly flexible. This is going to be a New Game Plus run, which is... There are a few important differences from a standard New Game run that I'll sort of get into more as the run progresses, but it's going to be a bit more platforming heavy than other categories. But I think with that explained, we'll just get right into it. So, I'll give a countdown. 3, 2, 1, start. So, the first of the differences you're going to notice is I start with the Teleria attachment. It's this long, fast dash. I'm going to try to dash as much as possible throughout this run, because that's just the fastest way of moving. I'm also going to be jumping up slopes, because dashing up slopes is slower. The next difference is I start with all of my weapons, and I can equip 3 sets of them and instantly switch between the 3. The 3 sets that I have equipped are pretty fine-tuned for this speed run. And I'm going to use one of them here, the light wall, to sort of get into sealed caves early. And this is a bit of a sequence break. I'm just going to drop down and pick up this key card that's down here. The key card is going to be used to open up any door that requires key cards D, C, or B. So I'll be able to skip picking up D and C. So that saves quite a bit of time. The other main difference between this category and standard New Game is my level is maxed out, and that basically, that allows me to do maximum damage and mostly ignore combat. It doesn't entirely trivialize it because I'm playing on Nightmare difficulty. I'll explain why momentarily, but so enemies still hit pretty hard, so I have to put a lot of effort into avoiding them. So also I just picked up the time stop. I can use that to pause time and jump on enemies because they retain their collision but lose their hitbox. So anyway, the reason I'm playing on Nightmare difficulty is because actually there's a higher level cap for that difficulty, so I can do even more damage. So we're coming up on the first boss. I'm just going to bonk it with a hammer. And that's going to be a common thing with these bosses. I'm going to just beat them in one attack, but it's not entirely trivial because there's a lot of optimizing what one attack is going to beat each individual boss the fastest. So coming up on Vartigray Metropolis, this is one of the harder parts of the run. Especially this waterway section. I've sort of taken to using some safer strats here lately. Little mistake there, grabbed that guy, but overall that was a pretty clean waterway. Just making my way up here. Running through the library, there's going to be this long conveyor belt here in this room. Lots of these guys. So this charge attack that I'm using here is Chaos Blades. I'm going to use it a lot just to clear out large swaths of enemies. And one thing is I don't want to overuse it because okay, so if you attack on the ground, you stop moving. If you attack in the air, you can keep moving, but it does reset the dash, so even though it's better than attacking on the ground, it's still not ideal. So I'm going to, most of the time, whenever possible, I'm going to be jumping over enemies and stuff. Anyway, I'm just jumping over these gargoyle Roombas, which I'm keeping paused the whole time because they are terrible to deal with if they are allowed to move freely. Swapping over to my Plasma Orb, which has sort of a long-range homing attack to take care of these spiders in this tight corridor. Dropping down here to get the elevator keycard, and the elevator keycard is going to give me access to all of the elevators in Vartigray Metropolis. And so I'm going to just move over to the right here, switch back to the Eye Orb and Chaos Blades, take this elevator down even though the next boss is up, because there is a warp gate down here that I just want to enter so I can warp back here later. Because this little excursion is actually going to save a lot of time because I'm going to be coming back here multiple times later. But now I'm back in the elevator going up to the next boss, which is Varndegroth. And Varndegroth is the only point in the run when I use the Eye Orb, because the Eye Orb just sort of sits out there with this constant hitbox, and Varnagoroth doesn't have a great cue for when it becomes vulnerable initially. So just picking up the TimeSpinner spindle, taking Varnagoroth out just like that, and so now I can operate the TimeSpinner, and the problem with that is I don't have all of the components needed to sort of correctly fine-tune where I'm going with it, so instead I'm going to just super overshoot my mark and go 1,000 years into the past. Just running past these spiders. These spiders can be kind of tough to deal with, so I just pause when there are multiples. Gonna skip a couple cutscenes here. There is an unskippable cutscene coming up right now. This is a hydration point. Going to have some hydration. Okay, water has been had. So there is a cutscene skip coming up, and I can regain movement before the screen fades back in. So I'm going to use the NPC, the like, you can interact with the NPC indicator thing there as a cue for whether I can, or for where I am, basically. Just skipping a couple last cutscenes and moving up into Greenwood Forest. And just making use of the Plasma Orb's great flexibility here. And then switching over to Eye Orb, because there is a moth here that would get in my way and just totally ruin my day, but I have Chaos Blades just to clear it out. Jumping over a rat, running onto the bats, jumping over another rat, and moving on to Lake Serene. Lake Serene, okay, so here I'm going to just pause time because these flies are horrible. They can and will kill me. They have when I've tried running this without that screen without pausing time. They're just brutal. I'm gonna pause again, jump off this bird. A big advantage of the time stop mechanic, or a major use for it, is like jumping off of enemies to get extra height and distance and stuff. So I'm just running through these birds thanks to the Scythe Ring, which is a thing. Basically, 2 of the sets of orbs that orbit me have a passive hitbox on them. Pausing again because this screen, the flies are even worse here, and the jumps are long. You have to have pretty good positioning. Coming up on the next boss, it's a huge bird, Azure Queen, which is going to zap her twice. Not that much of a problem. And now I'm going to drop down behind here, pick up the Twin Pyramid Stones, which allows me to use these warp gates, and these 2 demons show up. They're going to send me back into the present, but I'm going to actually decide, no, I'm going to go back into the past again, and this time I'm going to head more to the east, because the demons let down the drawbridge to the castle. Yes, there is a castle here. So now I can sort of attack the castle thanks to these helpful, totally very helpful and not at all villainous demons that just let the drawbridge down. Jumping across this lake is kind of weird water physics. Water physics are tough to get a handle on in this game. Making big use in that climb there. Okay, so you sort of have, you have that ledge grab in this game, but you also really have big time magnet hands. Like, you can just stick to ledges from super far away, and that climb especially is one of those spots where it really comes through, because it's, a couple of those look like they shouldn't be possible, but they are. So I'm just running here, putting up a light wall. Making my way here. This is pretty tight here in terms of jumping over enemies to minimize attacks, because I could use Chaos Blades and just kill all of them very quickly. But if I use less Chaos Blades, I can run past them even faster. Just jumping over that guy, he can be a bit of an issue there. Actually making pretty good time into Castle Keep. I did get a world record in this category, actually, like earlier today, practicing for this, so hopefully that translates for the rest of the marathon. Kind of ran into that guy, though. Gotta pause so this archer can't mess with me. And just jumping over these royal advisors here. There's going to be one in this room that I'm going to jump off of, sort of as a springboard, but not a springboard, more like another platform. Jumping over this archer here, because sometimes the orbs are on a cycle where you can just run through them, and sometimes they're not. So coming up on the idol, golden idol, and those demons from before, just hitting the idol with a hammer right as the screen totally fades to black. It's it's kind of one of those things you have to get a feel for after doing it, you know, a few times. So I got the succubus hairpin that lets me do a double jump. It's actually one of my favorite double jump animations in any game I've ever played. It's like this nice pirouette that you'll see more in this next area coming up. So I'm doing that jump. Sometimes I miss the dash off of that. I don't know why, but I made it that time, and that's good because that's basically I get to skip jumping up to another platform. So I feel very powerful here, just running through all of these birds, like no problem, not a care in the world. And I'm going to pause time here. This is one of those spots where, like, your climbing has to be spot on. Mine was pretty good there. That might have... Okay, no, I thought that might have been too low. It was not. It was just fine. So now I'm just jumping up these stairs again because you don't want to run up the stairs because that's slower. And going over here to Queen Elana, which is the next boss, gonna use the gun orb twice, and now warp shard to warp back to the last of these warp gates I used. Going back to Sealed Caves, but a different part of Sealed Caves, accessed from Varnagray Metropolis, that warp gate that I said earlier. It's still Sealed Caves, but it's not actually connected to the part of Sealed Caves that I was in earlier, where I got that key card. In fact, this is, I don't think you can get from this one to the other one directly. But basically, I'm just running through this dark, ominous path here, and this screen gonna jump over this this hallway. I call it the lot of guys hallway because there are a lot of guys here, and I'm just jumping between them. This next room's kind of lumpy. There are a lot of... I'm just gonna leave it paused because these dragon dudes like to jump around, like to poison me. Kind of lumpy terrain, which is, you know, kind of awkward in terms of like maintaining full speed, but it's fine. Picking up the water mask now, that's gonna let me breathe underwater and swim. So now I'm going back to Lake Serene from earlier, and instead of being very sad at the thought of being killed by flies, I'm going to just go for a swim. And that's a much better situation to be in, I think. So I'm just sort of jumping back and dropping into the water right here. Dashing underwater is kind of weird because sometimes you stick to the ground, like really, really stick to the ground, and sometimes you sort of bounce and float along. Bouncing and floating more is better. I don't know why I just charged up a light wall. That was kind of weird. I didn't need to... There was no reason to do that, and I never do it, but I did it there. But anyway, I'm into Caves of Banishment, which is like... It's the same place as Sealed Caves, but like in the past, and some of the layouts of like enemy placements and stuff are different. I totally forgot that mushroom was there. I almost ran headfirst into it, but I got saved by the orb. So I'm just pausing and running under these vines because that's faster than losing my momentum, losing my dash to do a jump attack. So I'm just running along here. Basically right now I'm running to the Maw of Asmodeus, and that is, in the game's lore, it's a planet-destroying super weapon. In the actual like gameplay, it is a complete pushover, and I'm not even talking about how like, you know, oh, New Game Plus, you can just one-shot all the bosses. I mean, like, even if you're playing it casually, this thing it's super easy to deal with. But anyway, these snails, these huge snails here, that was the second of them, of 4 that'll show up in the run. Usually I kind of bonk on them. Lately I've been doing a little bit better in that regard. But now I'm sort of doing one last climb before the maw. That's a pretty solid one. Have to shoot two of the little planks in that bone door thing there. And now shoot the maw twice. Okay, that was really good RNG. The maw kind of, it's a little bit random in terms of like how long it takes to actually die once you kill it. But anyway, I'm using another warp shard. And now I can access the military hangar because I beat the idol, I beat Elana, I beat the maw. So now I can head to the military hangar because the laser gate has sort of been destroyed because I meddled with the past. This is one of those areas, it's a huge make or break spot in the run because it's not super long. There are 5 rooms in a row though where it's easy to make mistakes. So that was the first 3. Those 3 went really well. This jump coming up is kind of weird. Okay, I made it. There's not a great cue for it. I only make it probably 60% of the time or so. But I got it. That was actually, like, basically a perfect military hangar. So now I'm in Amadeus' lab, where Dr. Bad Guy does unethical science experiments. And I'm just climbing up here because I need to turn the power off. This conveyor belt is kind of awkward to contend with. Using light wall to climb up here because the alternative is really difficult platforming. So I've turned the lights out. I'm just dropping down here, and I've unleashed the worst enemy in the whole game. Experiment 13. Experiment 11. Experiment 11 is fast, it's aggressive, it has a small hurt box. It inflicts chaos status if it hits me, which slowly drains my sand, which is my time stop meter. And also, I can't, like, pause them by stopping time. They just keep moving. There are 2 more that I have to deal with before this next boss. So hopefully they won't antagonize me too badly. And that was Genza, aka Dr. Bad Guy. And so he's not going to be doing that unethical science experimentation anymore, but he dropped a key card. Security keycard A. This is the highest security keycard, actually. It's going to let me get into a lot of places. In fact, I'm going to be able to get the 3 TimeSpinner gears, which will let me operate the TimeSpinner correctly and go to the right time that I tried to go to. So I'm dropping down into the basement of the lab now to get the first of these gears. Just charging up a Chaos Blades, because these laser spiders are terrible, but Chaos Blades just chews right through them very easily. So that's the first gear. Warp sharding back to the warp gate. Warping back to the same Varnagray Metropolis warp gate that I've already been to like 3 or 4 times already this run. And there's going to be another similar room with the same laser spiders. There are going to be less of them, and they're more densely packed, so I only need 2 Chaos Blades this time. And now, the third and final of these gears is in the Sealed Caves. And the layout of this is very similar to the Caves of Banishment area that I did before, except, as you can see, there are more enemies. And the enemies are of more dangerous types, like, they do more damage, they're more aggressive, they have more, like, different things they can do, and they all poison me, basically, if they hit me. So I need to be very careful to not get hit. I'm just going to pause right through here because there are so many slimes. And just running, because these guys like to jump a lot, so I'm just going to run right past all of them. Dropping down again. Very luckily, this game does not have any fall damage. I love games that don't have fall damage. They're second only to games that have fall damage that is funny to die from. And so I jumped over that 3rd snail pretty nicely. 4th snail is coming up. Let's see how that goes. Okay, perfect over the snail. Perfect over the snail. Switching back to Gun Orb and Hammer for the boss protecting the next gear, Zarion. It's this huge skeletal bird. It's horrible to deal with normally, but of course I have Colossal Hammer and maximum level, so it doesn't really matter. It's almost somewhat cathartic after all the times I died to that boss, playing it casually. But anyway, I'm coming up. I'm using the TimeSpinner to get to Mr. Cutscene. The way this is going to play out is I'm going to bonk him with a hammer, and then a cutscene's going to play. He's that guy right there, the tall guy. He's like, what, 10 feet tall? Something like that. Anyway, so a cutscene's playing, it's unskippable. I cannot skip this cutscene, so I'm going to have some more water because, I'm talking a lot. Okay, so basically, where we are in the story is, we basically just destroyed the universe because of the constant meddling with time and everything, it just couldn't really hold itself together. So that's not great. This lion here that's made out of sand, that guy right there, that's a Sandman. He's basically God, and he's mad at me because I've just destroyed the universe with my constant meddling with time. So I'm going to go... I'm actually going to go have a word with him, and that word is stop. You know, please stop being mad at me. I'm doing my best, and who hasn't, you know... Okay, that was kind of weird. That enemy, I sort of tried to draw it to the side, you know, but every so often it doesn't quite work like that. So also, I'm coming up on Pyramid Jump. This is terrible. This is the hardest trick in the game. I get one try at it. If I miss it, I lose a minute. And... Okay, I got it barely. I had to magnet hands that so hard. So I'm actually coming up on the end of the run now. I just have to drop down here, and then there are going to be 2 more bosses at the bottom of this pyramid. Basically, after this staircase, there's going to be another save point, and then those bosses. So this run's gone surprisingly well up to this point, actually. So first the Sandman, just going to bonk him, say stop being mad at me, and now here comes Nightmare. I don't know who he is or where he came from, but he's here right now. So I'm just gonna you know, charge up my hammer, and then I'm gonna do my thing, and that's time. Sorry. So, yeah, that's TimeSpinner. Sorry about being a bit slow on calling time there, but, that run went a lot better than I expected it to. Just before I'm done, I want to give a couple shout-outs. I want to give a shout-out to the TimeSpinner speedrunning community for, like, testing and routing and documenting this game so well. I want to give a shout-out to Bodhi/Lunar Ray Games for not only making this wonderful game, but including not 1 but 2 speedrun modes for it. Also, I want to give a shout out to Allie and the FleaFest crew for putting this event on and giving me the opportunity to show off this run. This has been a really great time. You know, really enjoyable for me. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I think that's